been on here. Hopefully it's not too echoey in this room. But anyway, I'm tired. I just got back from a work trip, and 2 red-eye flights will make you tired. So anyway, I've had a couple days to recover now, but I'm still pretty tired. But today we're going to do some cool stuff. We're going to talk about gold and silver, where it's going. We're going to talk about what I'm doing. I'll answer some of your guys' questions, so we'll definitely do that. We're also going to be giving out silver today. If we hit 100 thumbs up, we'll give out silver today. If not, we'll wait until next week and I'll make a bigger deal about it. But to kind of celebrate the channel doing really well this month, or I should say the month of October, I'm going to do a 1 ounce silver giveaway. So it'll be a Beskar bar to kind of celebrate, Halloween, I guess, a little bit. Not that you necessarily need to celebrate it, but we'll be doing one of these. This is a 1 ounce Beskar bar. All right, so we get to 100 thumbs up before I finish today. We'll give this away today. If not, we'll give it away later this week on Friday when I get back into the groove doing the live streams. We get up to 100, we'll do that today. We get up to 150, I'll do a quarter of, so a silver quarter. And we get up to 200, I'll do a second one of these. All right, but that's just today. So these are pretty cool. In the 10th ounce, they look even better because they are, what do you call it? Antiqued. And they look like the Beskar bars they used on the Mandalorian movie, which is pretty cool. But you can see the little symbol down on the bottom, which is like the imperial symbol there. If it'll focus right in the corner. And then on the back, you can see this is a coin. This is not a round. It's a coin from Niue, from that country. And you can see the details that are kind of called out there, except that I think everything is backwards because that's how YouTube does this thing. All right. I still have some of these left. But we're going to talk gold and silver today. A lot of people are trying to figure out what the heck's going on with it. You guys, there's a lot of news that's coming out. And in addition to that, I think it's always helpful to know what different people are doing. For me, I'm buying still because I don't think there is a time to sell this stuff really until we get to a point where we have backed our currency again with gold and silver, or let's say gold, and maybe we're still using silver more industrial, but there you go. There's what a whole bunch of those look like. That's kind of cool. So these have been given out over time. A few of these have been sold, and they're kind of fun. I don't think they're making these anymore, actually. So they're kind of fun, and I'm a big Star Wars fan. But we're gonna talk about that today, and I'll have some more videos coming out this week to kind of share some of that with you guys as well. I guess I'll leave one of those out. But it kind of comes in a cool case, just for you guys to see there. I know it's all backwards, but that's how it came in a case of 25 from Apnex. All right, let's do some quick shout outs. You guys double tap the screen to do the thumbs up, and we get to 100 before I end, we'll do this giveaway. All right, if we just get to 50, I'll do a silver dime today too. But let's go back. We've got Neophyte Stacker. Anyone sharing their gold and silver stock positions yet? Technically, I think we are bullying, or maybe he meant building. But welcome. Craig's in the house. Welcome, Craig. And we've got the Siamese Pyrocat. Okay. And then we've got Arzuko. Welcome. Hey, he says, hey, dude, what's up? Hello from Virginia. Fernanda. I'm not going to say that right. I'm sorry. But OD, hey, sir, forgot the quarter gauze. So awesome. The gauze do make it out, guys. They do take me time. So that's another thing. A lot of times the gauze take about a month to send out just because of schedule. I wish I had all the time in the world. But basically this channel, as well as my day job and being a dad and husband, suck up all my time. So it's hard to get a lot of time in there. Plus, you guys, I've got to spend a little bit more time doing, watching over my investments, studying on what's going on with mining stocks, what I'm putting my money into. I've been buying more mining stocks this last, on Friday, actually. I set up a program on Slice, but no one seems to be wanting to go over there to get my mining stock advice. So I'll give you guys a little bit, but it takes a lot of time, a lot of money to go and invest in those and figure out what's going on. It's not something that I'm just going to throw out here on a free channel and stuff. It just takes too much. Plus, I have to subscribe to things and spend a bunch of my money to do it too. If you guys are members, we are going to be doing some member-only videos, and in those, I'll probably start switching over there to tell you a little bit more about my mining stocks and some of the picks that are there. It's also something I want to be more careful about too on a public forum like this, because I don't want people taking what I say and then just going and doing that. I want to be able to have a little bit more insight. I don't want someone taking a clip of what I say on here and then publicly putting it out there and misrepresenting things. As I'll tell you as always, not a financial advisor, but I am someone that has money, that has been investing for a long time. I do have gold and silver. I have some copper as well and platinum. I do have cryptocurrencies. I have stocks. I also have mining stocks and real estate. And I've been doing this stuff since I was just out of high school. And I come from a family that has been in these investments for a long time. So I understand a lot of what's going on. So take anything I say with a grain of salt. It's my opinion. It's my experience. I've been talking on X with a handful of people that are huge Bitcoin people today, and they were saying some very ignorant things. So I corrected them a little bit on that. And some of them got a little heated in the conversations. And I was like, that's not what I meant to do. It was a comment off of a gold and silver post, not a Bitcoin post. And too many people are getting heated with their assets. Okay, guys, these are just tools. They're not religious instruments. They are not things that you are going to take with you when you die. They're things to provide, sanity for your wealth and for your family. But we're going to talk about that as well today too. So I'm going to talk about the future of gold and silver. Where is it going? What am I doing? What am I buying? I'll give you guys a few hints on some of the miners that I'm looking at too. And I'll do the best I can with this format. And then I think we may be switching back over to the other format next week. We'll kind of see how it goes. This one I can't share anything else with you guys. Like you'd have to point it to the computer, and maybe we'll do that. It's a little bit low tech, but it gets a little harder. All right, we've also got Corey Crowley, welcome, and Joey Libs, welcome, and Ed the Lorax. There are a lot of people buying and selling at the local shop today. That's pretty cool. And then we've got Kenshi's coming to hang out. Silver underperforms like Ohtani in the playoffs. Oh, you had to say that. Well, at least the Dodgers did win the Super Bowl. What am I talking about? The World Series was a great game to watch last night, guys. And I had to kind of watch it while I was doing Costco and some other things in the meantime. And then when I got home, I had to finish that. And going off to the 11th inning really does make things go a little longer. So that's why we postponed it to today. But yeah, Ohtani did not perform as well. But Kenshi, you've got to remember, silver is a squirrely metal. It is not one that that you buy to just make crazy amounts of money off of it. It does have a speculative end to it, but it is going to be much more relevant and based on its price action is going to be much more based on what's going on with general markets than just say what's going on with money. Okay, so there's going to be a lot more factors into that, but it does have huge potential to go way up. So I think we'll be talking about that too. I think a lot of you guys may be missing the boat on some of that. Eric Horn, hello, welcome. Richie Crash, I finally got a notification of a live stream. Yay! Okay, good. A lot of these I probably just need to set them up further in advance, and so you guys can see them and mark them. Gen X Silver Stacker, he's got some thumbs up. So you guys double tap the screen, and we'll do a silver giveaway. except Kenshi doesn't want this. Maybe he'll want some sats instead. I'm gonna give you some sats if that's what you'd rather have. All right, let's see, we've got, let's see, whoa, all of a sudden that just jumped up on me. All right, let's see here for a second. We got Ron Spencer in here, David Winnington, welcome. Notorious RPG, uh-oh, that sounds kind of scary. James Daniel, cheers. How is refining the product from the mines? You'll have to specify a little bit more of what you're wanting to say there. Surfing in Alaska? I didn't even know you could do that, but I guess you can. There's waves up there. That's gonna be cold. It'd be really cold. Who is the refiner for the mines? There's a lot of refiners. So there's a couple big national refiners, and then there's smaller regional refiners. And you'll probably have a handful of the mines probably do some of their own refining as well. I don't know. I don't know a ton about that, how all the refining goes on. I do know that a lot of the regional refiners have stopped buying for the time being the 90% silver, just because they're trying to supply the LBMA with as much silver as possible. And I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with demand. There's a lot of people standing for delivery, so that's definitely going to affect things. Coin Story Podcast, welcome. Let's see, Jake Brown, keep liking vid. I know you guys want free silver, don't you? 1 ounce is always fun. So, okay, fun fact on these, before silver went past $30, these were going for about $48 to $52 on eBay. One of you guys go look up on eBay, see what these are going for today. This is a 2000, let's see what year it is. If I can even read it. 2022 1 ounce Beskar bar. You guys go look it up, see what it's worth. So we'll talk about that a little bit too. What is this worth today? And has it actually gone up in value more than, say, like junk silver? Joseph Lopez is in the house, welcome. Sound Money Society, welcome. The Siamese Pyrocat says silver has a really strong support line at 41 an ounce. I believe it's going to drop down to that level, then shoot up to all-time highs. It does depend. It does depend on a few things. Satch Adams checking in from Buffalo. I'd rather be here than watching the Bills and Chiefs game. Uh-oh, must not be going too well. Let's see, the coin show in Anaheim looked pretty busy. It probably was pretty good. We'd love to do more of those coin shows, but we're kind of blocked from doing them because I think we stole the crowd when we were doing the Long Beach shows. Double tap the screen, guys. That'll get more thumbs up. More people will see this. And then we'll give out an ounce of silver too. All right, let's see. Ed the Lorax says, will it let me link to a silver chart? Not this format, but I can get my computer in a second. We could show you guys some stuff on the computer and flip the screen backwards. If you do this way, everything will be backwards. I guess they do that because people don't know how to deal with it, unless there's a setting somewhere I haven't found in here. Let's see. I'm gonna look real quick. This one makes it a little brighter. Yeah, I can turn the screen off. I can flip it, but I can't mirror it. So I think we're kind of stuck with this. Ed the Lorax, if we are heading towards UBI, shouldn't we start taxing them now? I don't know what you're totally referring to there, but because I think this just skipped a bunch. Let's see. Okay, Jake Brown. So Joe Rogan and Elon were talking about UBI stimulus. Yeah, you guys, so I'm in the AI space, and I had a chat with the Uber driver from LAX to my house the other day coming home. And, he was telling me he picks up a lot of guys that are younger, a lot younger than me, that are in the AI space, and they're telling him how he's going to be out of a job in 3 years, and by 2030, all the jobs are going to be gone. And that's not true, guys. Let me explain a few things to you on that real fast, because it has to do with UBI. So just like anything, there's always a hype cycle. And right now we're kind of at the top of the hype cycle with AI. I've been seeing crazy videos of some guy in a Kentucky Fried Chicken bucket flying through his house and flying through the shopping grocery store. And anyway, I was laughing my head off, but it's like totally stupid. And then I've seen a bunch of chiropractor videos where they're like jumping on people and they're breaking the table, and people are like, "Thank you, that feels so much better." It looks totally real. What you're seeing is just a lot of creative generative AI being created. My company I've been working for has been doing AI for over 40 years. And a lot of that's been in pretty simplistic automation, but it's still artificial intelligence, because you would program it to do something, and then there'd be triggers that happen, and it would artificially, in an intelligent way, start to do different tasks. So there's a huge gambit of what you call AI. When people are talking about AI becoming as smart as, like, say, all the humans that have ever lived on the planet, we've got a ways away for that happening. And even at that, it's not going to have a soul. And so it's also not going to have that same creativity and consciousness that we have. But in the meantime, it is going to take a lot of jobs that have to do with, say, repetition and speed are really important. So, for example, someone that might be a paralegal assistant that needs to go through a bunch of cases and needs to be able to give you an answer real quick. It's good at that. It's good at doing research. It's good at, pulling information, but it hallucinates and it makes stuff up. So I don't see it replacing all the jobs super fast. I think a lot of people have a lot of time. However, if we get to the point where a lot of jobs are replaced, I do think you're going to need a universal basic income, because people are going to need money to live, and you don't want to have a revolt on your hands. So there's going to be that. But, just like I have a full-time job and I've started this channel on the side, and it's starting to pull in a little bit of revenue beyond just what I've paid. Hopefully I'll break even this year, and next year it'll start to make some profits, which would be great, because spending 2 years of your time doing a podcast and not really making any money from it, and reinvesting all of it, is tough. You want to be able to make a little bit of money from something you do on the side. But the problem is I keep giving a lot of silver away. My wife's like, "Stop." And I used editors for a while, and those guys take a lot of money too. Double tap if you guys haven't done so for the thumbs up. So UBI, is it coming? Yeah, I do think it's coming at some point. I don't think it's going to be here yet. But even if you're getting UBI, technically, when they talk about UBI, it's kind of like everybody gets it, whether you are a billionaire or not. So I think they'll probably get more specific on UBI for people that lose their jobs. And maybe it's just more like an unemployment payment. But I don't know for sure how that's all going to work out. What I can tell you is that eventually those things look like they're going all towards a stable coin, which means everything's on a public ledger, which means that people will have the ability to know, especially if you use AI to try to say, "Hey, can you tell me whose wallet address this belongs to?" Eventually, I think it's going to know some of that stuff. So I'm not excited about that. That's where I like stuff like silver, where I think you've got the ability to keep something out of the system. And if you needed your car to get worked on, I'm thinking you'll probably be able to find a mechanic that will say, "Hey, yeah, I'll take a bar of silver for, fixing your car." But I do think we're heading towards that. Let's see. Eric Horn, check with Yankee about some goldbacks I sent him for both you and him to use as gauze. Awesome. Okay, Eric, let me screenshot that. I'll have to reach out to him and ask him. Let's see, the Notorious RPG. I watched one baseball game this year, and it was last night. Well, there you go. It was a pretty good game. I mean, if you guys like baseball, that was a good game last night. There were, it kept going. There's a lot of high pressure stakes, and there were some crazy moves going on. But it was a good game. All right, let's see. We've got Rick in the house too. Welcome. On 2026 Silver Eagles, low mintage. They keep doing lower mintage. I just think they don't have as much silver to go around, guys. Like, um, when people mention, hey, the resistance is this level and the support is at this level for silver, right? The key is we're starting to have a silver crunch. Okay, people are starting to realize, hey, I want to hold on to the physical, and we're starting to have that problem. And so we don't make enough silver, meaning pulling it out of the ground and refining it in a given year to accommodate the industrial usage of it. And right now we've got militaries that are starting to ramp up. Even the United States is now saying that they want to use silver as a strategic resource. And it's not because we're looking to use it as money again, it's because they need to build more military devices and weapons with it. So, and do I have a definitive on that? I don't, but why else would they change their mind on that right now? We've been sending a lot of stuff over to Ukraine, so I'm thinking we probably need to start replenishing stuff. Double tap that screen if you guys haven't done so. We're going to do a silver giveaway once we get to 100. Unless I end the stream before then we'll do it on Friday. So anyway, when things are changing, when you can feel it in the air changing, where people are starting to think about going towards gold and silver, they start to pull it off the market. They start to hold on to it instead of flipping it and selling it. But you have to remember, spot price, the charts, everything that's being shown there has to do with the paper price, okay, not the physical. So you're starting to see premiums going up. I haven't bought anything in the last couple of weeks physically, but I know that I heard that the gold eagles were going up to a $200 premium per coin. And so, we're seeing the premiums starting to go up. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing a minimum of 5% premium on gold. I wouldn't be surprised to start seeing at least a 20% premium on silver. So, the 2026 Eagles, they've been playing that game for a long time where they just don't make enough of them. And, it kind of drives the price up. I haven't heard anything yet about the refineries clearing up yet. I think they're still having their issues. So with that out there, I would say 90% silver is a good buy still. It's funny. I talked to some of my close friends here, and I can always tell what the sentiment is because they watch a lot of YouTube channels, and they'll be like, I don't want junk silver right now. It's not good. No one wants it. Everybody's selling it. That's the time to buy it, guys. Like, I remember junk silver a couple summers ago, and it had a huge premium on it. Now, you could buy it less still then than you can now, even with huge premiums. But right now, we've got these really low premiums on constitutional and junk silver. That's the stuff I'd be buying right now. I have been. So I've been buying up a bunch of that. I still haven't even had the chance to go through and count all of it to see if it's real. It's been a month. And, I'm still going through it. It takes forever to go through a lot of dimes and quarters, especially if you're testing them or looking at the sides of them and going through them. If you buy a lot, it takes a long time to go through it. I'm buying that stuff. I've been buying, rounds and eagles, and I've been buying bars. And, I'm getting my hands on any kind of silver I can, but I don't buy it retail. I usually buy it spot or below spot. And sometimes it's just a little bit above spot, but way below it. So, I think the most I've ever paid for an American Silver Eagle now is $51. I haven't paid over that. But I'm not looking at it from trying to get the best price. I'm trying to get a good deal at the time that I'm buying. And so if I have money, like say this next week, I'll put some offers out. I'll try to see what I can find. And I'll wait to find some good deals, and then I'll pull the trigger. To me, it's converting money from fiat to physical. So it's not really buying physical gold and silver, it's converting it into that form. And if you look at a lot of recommendations in the past, it was 3 to 5% in gold, don't own any silver, and that was in paper gold. And now you're starting to see places like Morgan Stanley say 20% in gold. And you're seeing a lot of other places saying, hey, it's good to have some physical too. These guys don't make money if it goes physical, so they usually don't recommend that. But why would people start looking at that? And then I know a lot of people that are going way heavier than 20% into gold and silver, especially the physical. And I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it's probably a pretty good idea, but I can't give you financial advice, can't tell you what to do, can't tell you when to do it or what to buy. But I can tell you that if we're starting to get into a time period, which I think we are, where people want this stuff and it's hard to get your hands on it, especially this one here is 3.9's fine. And it also doubles as a coin wherever Nui Island is. But, this is a pretty cool piece of silver. I don't know if anybody found the price of it. But yeah, they can't refine 90% right now. That's awesome. They've got a surf shop up in Alaska. I haven't been there. Crafty Stacker, welcome. We've got a couple decent coin shops in the LA area, but I haven't made it out to enough of them. I've been finding much better deals than any of the coin shops just by finding people locally that are needing to sell silver and gold. And a lot of times we're buying it, anywhere from 1 to 4% behind spot, below spot. And those are good deals. So we've been picking up, silver at a good price. And when you find a good deal, the one thing I will tell you is if you're wanting to buy, don't hesitate, just go and buy it. It might go down a little bit the next day. It could go up. So I don't worry about the small inflections. Like, for example, I had a friend that brought some 100-ounce bars in May and said, hey, I'm getting rid of these. Do you want to get rid of, do you want to buy them? And I totally bought them. And I think I picked them up at about, I want to say $32.50. So it was, I think I bought them right below spot, like 50 cents below spot at the time. I made a ton of money on those, so to speak, on those bars, and I'm glad I bought them. And at the time, I think the person selling them felt like it was a good time to hurry and sell because silver was going down lower. So be careful on this. It's going down lower concept because you got to remember all the dealers have been buying silver all month, last 30, 60 days. They're not going to lose a bunch of money. They're not going to turn around and sell you silver because silver goes down to 41 bucks. They're not going to go and sell it to you at $41. They're going to really slowly allow that price to go down, and they're going to start to increase the premiums up. And I think it's very temporary if it even goes down that low. I don't even think it's going to go down that low. I think there's a lot of demand for it, and I think we're about to see it start jumping up even more. So right now, I'm just trying to accumulate as much as I can below 50, and I'm trying to accumulate as much gold as I can below 4,000. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do. All right, guys, so double tap the screen. You got 91 in here. We're going to do a 1 ounce silver giveaway before the show's over if we get to 100 thumbs up. All right, so let's see what else we got in here. Buy up gold and silver. Silver went down because I bought some. Yeah, that's exactly how it happens. So let us know next time when you're about to buy, and then we'll buy the next day. Joey Libs, how's it going? Terry Davis, is junk still a viable stacking option? Yeah, I think it's the best stacking option if you're looking to use it as money down the road in SHTF type situations, okay? If you're thinking you're gonna refine the junk silver down the road and turn it into something else, no, that's not a good thing. But having those coins is pretty good. They've never confiscated silver coins like that in the past. I don't think they're gonna do it in the future. And it's a piece of history, plus it's something that is recognizable as real money. And when you can see the date on them, and you can turn them on the side and see that they're pure silver. Okay, not pure silver, 90% silver, but they don't have the copper line through them. I think it's a great option to stack. Now, would I have all of my silver in constitutional silver? No. I recently did buy a sterling silver silverware set. It's my first one I have. I think some of these things can be good to have because they're diversification. They have utility, you can use them. I think dimes are really good. I like quarters, and I have some half dollars too. Now, primarily what I want is stuff like this that's 3.9's fine, okay? I don't worry too much about 3.9's fine versus 4.9's fine. But yeah, I think junk is still viable. All right, let's see what else we got here. Sound Money Society is in Disney, California right now, where I could have added about 50 ounces to the stack, but instead they went to Disneyland. Yeah, well, look, why are you doing this in the first place, right? You can't swim in it. It's a little too heavy. And getting enough of it to actually fill a pool would be pretty crazy, especially in gold, because it only fills, I think it's 3 or 4 Olympic-sized pools, and you've got all the gold supply in the world. I want to say it's 3, but you know, so you're not going to swim in this stuff. You're not going to be able to take it with you when you die. And you know, for me, I always say gold is wealth insurance, silver is speculation, as well as money to be used in barter. Okay. That's how I look at it. And then you've got a big variation of coins that are out there too. So if you get something that's slabbed like a Morgan dollar that is from Carson City and it's in a certain grade, it's going to have a lot more value to it. I'm not afraid to buy stuff like that. I still think those coins are going to have a premium on top of just generic silver. And I think a coin like this is going to have a premium on top of just a silver round, always. Now, that percentage difference is going to depend on the timing of things. So like this coin right here is not going to go down if silver goes down to 41. It's going to stay at the same exact price. But when silver goes up to 60 bucks, and these were going for 48 to 50, they're going to get bumped up with it. However, they may not go up as high of a percentage as, say, a Buffalo silver round would. So you got to be careful with that kind of stuff. Make sure you know why you're buying certain things. You know, I bought these to sell at a coin show. Okay, so I've sold that many and probably given away maybe 2 or 3 of them. And I think I purchased these. I want to say I purchased them for around $28 a piece. Okay, so you know, if I can buy these for $28 and sell them for 48 to 50 bucks at a coin show, that's nice. If you don't have a coin show, then you don't have a place to sell. Double tap, you guys, so that we can give this away today. Brett Walsley, he was at Provident today, and they were buying Maple Leaf 1 ounce silver for 47 and selling for 54.50. Something smells funny. Do you agree? Nope, nothing funny with that. That's totally legit. That is how they're making their money, is on that spread. So, you know, most places are not going to buy it from you at spot price. They're going to buy it from you below spot price. Oftentimes 1 to 5% below spot price, and that's coin shops. And then they're going to sell it to you above spot price. You've got to remember, spot price is not the price of silver. It's the price of paper silver from the ETFs. It's not the price of what it costs to pull silver out of the ground, refine it, put it into a shape, and create something like this, and then marketing, and then pay Disney, you know, money to be able to have the logo on here. There is a LucasArt at the very bottom of this thing. If you look at it, there's LucasArt at the bottom. So, you know, it costs money to license that too. And so even the Maple Leafs, for them selling at 54.50, that's pretty reasonable. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. What I try to look for is if there's a local deal and I can find one, sometimes you can be buying at 47 instead of at 54.50. The problem is most of the time you're not going to find a big quantity. So if you're only buying 1 or 2 coins, look around locally. If you're wanting to buy a monster box of them, you're probably not going to find them at 47 anywhere, even locally. Most people are going to probably try to sell them for higher. So OC Stacker's in the house. He is cooking and listening. Yeah, so if you can buy junk silver at 30x right now, perfect. That's a great price. Let's see. Is the AI hallucinating programmed in, or does it just... No, it's not a flaw. It's a... the whole purpose of generative AI is for it to generate content for you. And if it can't find any data, it ends up creating that data so that it can be useful and provide something to you. So it's somewhat not programmed out of it. And sometimes it's just a flaw of the software of what it comes up with. So you always want to be checking your AI stuff, any research you do, to make sure that it's viable, because there's a lot of crap it puts out. Jake Brown in the house. Let's see. Yeah. All right. We've got from Brett a $5 super chat. Thank you. We'll heart that and thumbs up that. Yeah, that'll help cover the bar. Now, one thing I want to do, I'm going to move faster to get to the end of the comments here in a second too. One thing I'll tell you guys too, on a bar like this, something I want to share with you guys that's really interesting, and this is why I think we need to have capital gains taxes removed from gold and silver. The government will tax you 28% for this, not 20% capital gains. Even if you've held it long term, like on a stock, they want to tax you 28%. So one, that's totally wrong. Two, it says in the Constitution, the gold and silver is the money. You don't tax money, so this should not be taxed. And then three, the other thing to really be aware of is, let's say I buy this at 28, okay? And let's say they're going for $65 today on eBay, okay? I could sell this and my basis is 28 and I've got to pay taxes on all that other money from 60 minus 28. And if I wanted to just go put that into a different kind of coin, it's going to cost me more money. So I'm stuck with buying something that isn't as expensive as this. And so I hear a lot of people say, hey, I made money off of silver. Well, you only made money off of silver if you were able to get more money on top of what your replacement cost would be. I can't go back and buy this for 28. That's never going to happen again ever in history. So I didn't make money off of it, right? If I sold it at 60, because if I go to replace it and the only cost I can pay to replace it is 60, I didn't really make money off of it. But that's not financial advice. That's not accounting advice. That's just how it's set up now, and that's what you got to do. It kind of sucks. I hate it. But that's kind of how things go. Who pays the money for UBI? Taxpayers, as well as any company. Like if we replace a lot of our jobs with AI, it'll be the AI companies that'll be paying it because they want you to use their AI. And if you have no ability to go on the internet to use it or live in a house or have a computer, then they have nothing to sell you. So you'll see that going on. All right, let's see. It's going to continue to slowly replace jobs. It's starting. It'll probably replace a lot of the Uber and Lyft drivers in about 5 years, but it won't replace them all. Hey Copper, how's it going? Let's see. Let's see here. No Eagles under $9.10 right now amongst bullion dealers. Okay, I don't know what that means, OC Stacker. All right, L's in the house too. Welcome. All right, we're gonna go down a little bit easier. Yeah, so I do like I like junk and constitutional silver a lot, guys. Okay, Rick says some shops offer great sales. Last week, Minute Coin Bullion had a flash sale at $3 below melt, I believe, for constitutional or junk silver. So you guys do look for the deals. Go around to the different online bullion dealers and look for them. And then what I'll tell you too with Andy Schechtman, from what I've been told, I haven't had to do this myself yet, but because I found his prices to still be lower than other places I was looking. But if you find some good deals, you can reach out to Andy and see if he'll match the deals. Maybe they'll even be lower than the deals you find. But info@milesfranklin.com. Let them know Stacking Surfer sent you. And they can hook you up with some good deals too. I know he's been buying a ton of silver and gold, and he also hedges with options, so he doesn't have to keep the premiums as high as other people may need to. So yeah, Rob Spencer. So it gets a little tricky when you guys are looking at 90% silver. A lot of people use spot and melt interchangeably. So you shouldn't be buying 90% at spot. You should be buying it below spot. You got to do the calculation. So if you're buying $1 worth of silver junk, you want to take the spot price and multiply it by 0.715. And if you want to find out how much is in an ounce, then that is $1.40 face equals 1 ounce in silver. So you can do the math either way, a little bit of algebra there, but that'll give you the price of where the melt is. Now, it just depends though, Ron, because there are times where you will have junk silver going way above the premium going way above the price spot for silver because it's in huge demand. Those times are usually when a war starts or when people are afraid that we're about to start using dimes to buy eggs because we're going to go into an SHTF. Anytime there's fear of that, it skyrockets. It goes way up. So double tap the screen. We'll do a 1 ounce giveaway. If we can get to 200 before I finish, we'll do 2 of these. So yeah, junk is great. I do like it. A lot of people go after that stuff. Yeah, you got to be careful what you guys are selling back to too. So if you're selling back, first off, physical is a pain in the butt to move and sell. If you're just trying to play arbitrage in silver, I would not even mess with it. I would only arbitrage in gold. So you can go to places like Costco, pick up a gold bar or a gold coin, and you make 4% back if you have the executive membership plus the Citibank credit card. You'll get that in cash on the following year. You can't return the gold and silver you buy from Costco, guys, but if the price continues to go up like it has been, and I think it's going to for the next several years, you can have a little bit of an arbitrage play there. But just remember that when you're selling it and you see a profit, technically you guys need to be paying taxes on that. Talk to your CPA, your accountant on it. And then depending on what you can buy gold at the new price, you might not actually be making any money. You might be losing money after you take into account what you've got to pay in taxes. So you got to build some mathematical equations on that and kind of work it. Otherwise, the arbitrage isn't really worth it. So, trying to play gold and silver on its ups and downs is a bit trickier physical. Now, if you want to play it with the mining stocks or the vaulting facilities like Glint or One Gold, they have very, very small premiums on top of them. And those are great places to play the gold to silver ratio, by the way. You go throw a bunch of money in there. It's vaulted. It's not at your house. There's no risk from it being stolen at your house. There is a little bit of third-party risk. However, if you're using these big services, they are insured. They are vaulting it. They are big companies. Of course, if we get in the crazy SHTF and there's no electricity anymore, or you can't contact anybody, or it's a civil war or something, you want to have the physical in your possession. So, do both if you want. What are your thoughts on silver future spot price? So, look, I think silver and gold are going way higher. I just don't think we have enough of it around. And I think the demand is huge. So I think everything's going up. Trying to decide exactly at what point to do it is a fool's errand, even with charting and technical analysis looking at it. We have a lot of people telling us with technical analysis it should go down to $15. The only way I see it going down to $15 for silver is if we have a stock market crash that takes out 90 to 99% of all the stocks, destroys crypto, kills real estate, and it basically the last thing standing is gold and silver, and their prices go way down. I don't see it happening. So my recommendation when you're buying and selling is when you see the spot price come down for the day, that's a good time to potentially buy, right? Look at where it's been recently, and if you see it coming down, you can do dollar cost averaging. So most of us don't have enough money to be going out and buying a ton of silver every day, but you might buy some every week. And you might set, hey, I want to buy every week on Sunday after the price, starts moving again, or you might want to buy it on Friday after the price is locked in. And, I think those are okay strategies, but you may want to look and wait to see when it's on a down day and you can buy. That's usually what I try to do with the stocks, the mining stocks. When it's down, pick them up there. All right, Richie Crash, 33% gold, silver, 90% silver, 10% gold, 33% crypto. Yeah, I think those can be good too. So I have mining stocks. I don't get too much into the really risky stuff like exploration companies. I look at more from a standpoint of more stable companies. I'm going to be 50 next year, and so I'm starting to get to that point where I don't want to be super risky. I want to be more stable, but I can have some element of risk. And honestly, I don't see a lot of risk in the gold to silver space right now. Um, I think if you're buying right and you're making sure that it's real on the physical when you test it, that majority of it's physical and you've got some in the mining sector is okay. Know that technically you don't own any of the stocks that you're using through the brokerages unless you have paper certificates sent to you. And that might be really hard to get them to do it. All right, we hit 100, so we'll do a silver giveaway in a little bit. But I think we're in one of those periods of time where it's good to be diversified, but at the same time, you need to understand the risk that can come into things. So, mining companies have the risk of the company. They have the risk of leadership. They have the risk of, sanctions. They have depending on what country they're in, they have the risk of a country taking over the mine. Okay, there's a lot of different things that can happen with that, which your physical is not going to have. However, they also tend to explode and go way higher than the physical metal does because there's just a lot of demand, and then it's easier for people to move money from, say, Tesla stock over to silver and gold miners. I don't know that would actually be the right move for those people, like if they would actually do that or not, but that also can happen. I don't like the ETFs, so I don't put a lot of money in the ETFs, guys. If it is an ETF in general, it needs to be a spot ETF that actually holds the stock, not one that's just based on an index. And then outside of that, I don't own like SLV or GLD because I don't want to own paper silver or gold. That's not my thing. I have friends that do that, and that's cool. I just don't want to do that. And I'm worried that some of those systems like the LBMA and COMEX could have a run on the bank. Which would be the run on the physical. And if they do, I think we could see some pretty crazy stuff. And I don't want to see those prices get trashed. JDF, welcome. I know I need to scroll down. You guys just type so much stuff in here. All right, let's see what else you got. So Silver Heist is in here somewhere. Welcome. All right, let's see. You guys just ask a lot of good questions. So Brian spent 30 minutes going through $10 of Mercury dimes. You never know if something good was overlooked. Well, I bought a lot of silver Mercury dimes. I haven't been able to go through them all yet. It's been a month. And I'm just looking to see if they're real in the first place. Sometimes you'll get newer dimes stuck in these batches, and you want to get them swapped out pretty fast. It's hard to go back to who you bought them from a month later and say, hey, can you swap them out? I haven't even looked at the dates yet to go back and see if I've got something cool. And depending on how many you buy and how crazy your life is, sometimes it's not even worth doing that right now. It's just something you might do in the future. All right, let's see. Yeah, sterling silver can be pretty good too. All right. I think I'm way behind. It's hard to tell. It doesn't tell you how far behind you are on this stuff. All right, I'm scrolling down. All right, we got Craig in here. Robert H., good evening from Newton, Connecticut. Started following you after your visit to Tim and Yankees. Awesome. Yeah, it's really fun to go up there. I have not made it to Silver Dave's yet. I need to probably reach out to Silver Dave next time I'm up there. Go stop by his place and say hi too. I think it's pretty cool. Hey, Joseph, thank you. I think it's pretty cool to make silver out of like a hammer or a shovel or something like that just sits around and no one has any clue about it, which is pretty cool. All right, if we get to 200, we'll do this. If we get to 150, we'll do another silver quarter too. I can't cut this in half, so that's going to go to one person. And then always I throw in stickers when I've got stickers, and I still have stickers, so we'll throw those in there too. Let's see, but I'll tell you guys too, like there's times when I've bought silver where I thought it's pretty high right now. Should I do it? Every time I've done that, silver has gone a lot higher. And for me, the silver isn't something I'm looking to turn around in the next year or two. It's something I'm holding on to for several years. Same with the gold. So it's not, You know, it's my deep stack. It's not something I need to hurry and turn around. Um, the other thing I'll just throw out to you guys too is this. Um, you know, when you're looking at gold in general, I think for me, I used to always recommend have a year's worth of expenses saved up in cash. Okay. And I know a lot of us can't do that, but that would be like the ultimate um, flex, as my kids would say. Okay. So the flex used to be having a BMW. It started to become having a paid off house. Another flex is having a year's worth of income. I shouldn't say income, expenses in your bank. And then, you know, that kind of got down to 6 months, and then it gets down to like, say, 3 months. I'm kind of at the point where I'm looking at more like 2 months now and putting more of it into precious metals, especially gold, because it's still fairly liquid. Um, and when I say fairly liquid, I'm looking at coins that are easier to get to move um, versus just bars. But you know, that's another thing that people can do. All right, silver highest. I think when there was the Silicon Bank failures, constitutional silver premiums skyrocketed. I think so. I think that's where part of it was. It was around that time. So I think that was 2023 in this spring. And I can tell you that the banks are in big trouble right now. They're not looking good, guys. And if we see bail-ins or we see bailouts again, I think we could see some, you know, panicking. And when we see panicking, that's when things like constitutional silver has really high premiums on it. So you may look at silver price and you may be thinking silver is really high, it has to have a big pullback. That isn't true, guys. It could, but it doesn't have to have that. You have to remember that we've had a ton of money printing since 1970, 1980, 1990, 2000, 2010, 2020. There's been so much more money printed. And just from 2020 to now, we've had 1 out of every $3 printed. Okay, it's actually more than that now. And so we should be going much higher than $50 for silver in a, you know, gold bull run. I'm seeing numbers of 330 to 660 to $1,000. You know, there's a couple different variations on that. And the reason we don't have an exact number is no one can tell us exactly how much inflation we've had. If you go off the CPI or the CPI, as a lot of people call it, it's a way lower number. But if you look off of like shadow stats, it's a lot higher. And I think according to shadow stats, it's like close to $1,000. And then you have to start to account for the huge demand and the lack of supply that's coming out of the ground. And then some people will tell you it might even be as high as $2,000 for silver. Now, don't go buy this stuff because you watched this video and you're like, Surfer told me that silver's going to 2,000. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there are mechanisms there that could allow it to go up to that. Don't go buy this because you think that's going to happen. I buy this because I want to be able to feed my family, for one. And two, I think it's the most undervalued metal out there and maybe even commodity out there to the point where I think it's going to go much higher. So I do bet a little bit on that. I buy gold for wealth insurance to lock in my value right now on what my wealth is. And so I don't lose any of the wealth. Okay. I don't buy gold because I'm trying to get rich from it. If I want to get rich from stuff, I'm going to go buy real estate. I'm going to go, you know, take raw land, take it through the city, build a building on it, and flip it or rent it out. And I'll make money off of that. I make money off the stock my company gives me as part of my employment package. I make money off of living below my means. And then I make money off of playing the stock market and my cryptos. My gold is locking in my wealth. Yeah, so Dennis Snyder says here, be careful with glint or, you know, say one gold with playing the ratios. I'm not saying you guys should ever play the ratios, okay? All I'm saying is that those have much lower premiums on them than if you take physical gold and silver and you're trying to move back and forth on them. A lot of times you're going to have you're going to lose premium by selling, and you're going to have to pay premium when buying. If you're trying to play the gold and silver ratio, those are tools that have a lower you know, percentage of a premium you're going to have to pay. If you're playing the ratios, just a quick thing I'll throw out there. The way I look at it is if it's over 80 on the ratio, it's a good time to be buying silver. Like, go heavy into silver, in my opinion. That's what I've kind of done. Once I hit my wealth insurance, okay, wealth insurance, I hit that, then I play more on the silver side. When you get it down below 80 and it's between 70 and 80, then it starts to be something that I'm maybe not going quite as heavy into silver, but I'm still buying more silver than gold. And once you get down to 60 or above to 70, then I'm slowing that down a little bit. The mean has been around 50 to 40 in modern times. And if you go back even 100 years, then you're looking at much closer to about a 15 to 1, a 12 to 1, 15 to 12 ounces to 1 ounce of gold with silver. And it's been what comes out of the ground, okay? And so we could see that go a little bit lower too, because depending on what number you see coming out of the ground, it's a little bit lower than that. You know, but I wouldn't count on it happening, but it could happen, and it could even go to 1-to-1 if we have this massive need for silver. So, you know, I don't buy it based on that, but if you're going to play the ratio, you play the ratio on big spreads. You don't play the ratio on little spreads. So, you know, if you're going to do that, mess around with stocks, and you better know how to deal with charts, and you better understand how to read them, and you better be following them, and you better be paying a lot of attention if you're trying to do that. Otherwise, hold stuff long term. But if you're looking for spreads, if you can buy silver at 100 to 1, okay, we've missed the boat on that most likely. However, it could happen again before this bull runs out. I wouldn't write it off quite yet. You know, if we have a big, massive stock market crash, you could see 100 gold to silver ratio again. The other thing I'll throw in there is, let's say you did buy a bunch of silver at 100 ratio, and you want to make a big spread off of those things. Well, then you wait until the ratio's down in the 40s or 30s. That's how you play it if you're going to do that. But I don't recommend trying to play the metals too much, guys. It's not the best mechanism for that. Rick, the only way we can do this is by doing that. There's not another way to do it with the phone. And I'm going to kind of show you guys too. So we're gonna reward people that have been watching the channel. So there's going to be some things that'll be a little easier for those of you that have been watching to get in here. All right, let me keep scrolling down. Okay, Ron Spencer, if the COMEX and LBMA fall, you won't be able to buy silver and gold. How's that? You know, I will shut everything down on my eBay store. And if anybody buys during that time, I'm going to cancel their orders off of it, because that is like a complete meltdown scenario. And if eBay cancels my account, I don't care. But I think you're going to see, if LBMA or COMEX or both of them shut down, you're going to see the price of gold and silver skyrocket like you've never seen before. It'll be complete panic mode. And what'll happen is it's basically like a run on the bank. It means everybody, those 360 people that want their silver can't get it. Only one of them can. And they're going to freak out. And some of those places actually need the silver, especially if they're using the ETFs as a hedge for their business, and they consume silver. They're going to need that. So they're going to have to hurry and go out on the open market to try to get it. But what's going to happen is there's not going to be enough supply to get it. And it's going to freeze. Calling me, so I put it on do not disturb. Okay, so basically what you're looking at is a complete meltdown. We won't know what the prices are. It'll be too hard to do stuff. So all the stores will basically just go into complete freeze mode until they can figure out how they can replenish the silver and gold that they have in-house that might sell. And so you can see the prices skyrocket for that. So yeah, gold and silver junkie, he buys pennies and goes through the boxes. That's one way to do things. Eric, I don't know what you mean by the ratios for 10 ounce, 5 ounce, 1 ounce, 80%, 10%, 5. So what I'll tell you guys is this, from a taxation standpoint, it is really good to have lower denomination things. Okay, so if all your silver is 100 ounce bars and silver goes up to $1,000, you're going to have a really hard time selling that thing. Okay, there's not that many people that can buy it. If we get to 1,000 and you've got a kilo, it's still going to be hard. Even a 10-ounce bar is going to be hard. Okay, right? Because it's going to be $10,000. If you have a 5-ounce bar, it's going to be a little easier. If you have a 1-ounce bar, it's going to be easier. Your constitutional silver will be the easiest. So you got to think in numbers of where this can go with the price of gold and silver and who can buy it and how big your market is, as far as what sizes to go. I do have a couple. I do have some 100-ounce, but I don't really hold on to that very much. I do have some kilos, but more 10-ounce. I don't have any 5-ounce. That's not in bars. I have them in like the America the Beautiful coins. And then most of what I have is going to be either in 1-ounce size or in, dimes and quarters and half dollars. I like to have more of my silver in that form. However, I will tell you, as you gather and stack more and more silver, it gets extremely difficult to just have dimes, okay? If you want to have a lot of the stuff and you're accumulating more of it, it starts to become harder to keep track of all of that versus having some big bars. So, that's why if you're a billionaire and you're ordering in the hundreds of millions of dollars worth of silver, you're going to be ordering the 1,000-ounce COMEX bars, because as long as the COMEX still exists, you can take the bars and sell them back to them and they'll take them. It makes it easier than trying to go to a coin shop and having them, whittle you down on the price. However, if those things are gone and you're stuck with a 1,000-ounce bar, you're going to be like cutting that thing up. So be careful with those. And then I really try to, I get rid of the silver, the junk silver that I can't read the dates on or that are too gnarly. I try to get rid of that stuff and take it back to the stores. All right, let's see. But I think 10-ounce bar is probably your best bet size-wise. Hey, Sorcerer Stan, welcome. Let's see. I'm going to try to go a little faster. I do recommend having cash close to you guys. It doesn't have to be in your house. You can have it in a friend's house or a parent's house, and maybe they've got a safe and you can put it in another safe box inside there. Or you can hide it in another place. But I do think it's good to have some money out of the bank in case ATMs aren't working and you can't get cash out of the bank. You're going to still be using cash for a long time before people, resort to using silver, even in an SHTF. People don't know it. They're not familiar with it. They're going to still be thinking cash, cash, cash. However, you're going to want to use your cash, hold on to your silver and gold until later. All right, so Tiger Stacker, $5 super chat. Thank you. He says, nice hair. Where's my Starbucks? Uh-oh. He's going with that already. So let's see. This is natural. This is a little bit of hair dryer, nothing in the hair today. Let's see. Ricky Ticky Tavi, what are silver YouTubers going to do if silver crashes back to $30? If it crashes back to $30, nothing's different. We're going to keep talking about it. I'm going to keep buying it. I'll buy more of it. You guys have to understand that markets can be irrational. They can go up and down. I can't promise you a price it's going to go to. I don't really care what the price is. What I'm here to do is just help you guys understand some of the nuances of stacking, what I'm seeing in the market, what I'm doing personally, and help share that with you guys, right? I'm putting my neck on the line here, sharing stuff. Putting my face out there is definitely putting my face on the line too. And why do I do that? Because I feel like there's a lot of information that I didn't have when I started stacking. I made a lot of mistakes and I want to help you guys. I also feel that it's going to be very important for us to get the message out about gold and silver to more and more people. If it crashes back to $30, we have a big problem on our hands if that happens. And you probably won't be able to buy it at $30. It would have to stay down there for probably, my guess is 3 to 6 weeks before you would be getting, prices back down close to $30 for silver. There's not enough of it to go around right now based on the demand in the form that people want to pay or buy or trade into. for it to really go back down to 30. There's nothing in the charts. There's nothing in the supply and demand curves that show that it would go back down to 30. You get down to 15, they're going to stop mining this stuff. You get down to $1,500 in gold, they stop mining gold. They're going to shut the mines down if it's there for a long period of time. And then you have to remember, like, who's going to sell their gold and silver at that, right? But it's not impossible. If we have a deflationary crash like the 1929 stock market crash, everything could go down in value and price, including your gold and silver. And we could see $30 silver, and you could see $1,800 gold. You could even, I'll even go lower. You can go down to $18 silver and $1,800 gold, maybe even $1,500 gold if we have a big, massive crash. However, if that happens, you're talking like a $1,000 Bitcoin. Okay, you're talking like a 10,000 Dow Jones Industrial Average. Okay, you're talking massive crashes if we see the prices go down to that. It won't stay down there super long because everybody's going to be jumping into gold and silver and they're going to shoot the price back up. I mean, that's what history shows us. So, if you're worried about like how safe is it or am I buying at the top, those are the things to kind of look at. Look at the patterns. Look at what's happened in the past. I'm more concerned about having a bunch of cash in the bank than I am having gold and silver and the price going down. I mean, just to be honest, the banks aren't looking great right now. All right, I'll talk about bailins, Lee Little. So bailins are like the freakiest thing that could happen, guys. It's something that could really completely topple everything. So in the past, 2008, what happened is banks were able to be bailed out, which means that the taxpayers would pay the difference that the banks were in the hole with. And a lot of this came in the form of the reserves that they had. Some of them came in the form of losses. And it was taxpayer dollars that bailed them out. And the crazy thing is the government didn't even take ownership in the company for doing such things. So we as taxpayers never got money back after we shored up all those banks. And back then we required about a 10% reserve. We don't require any reserves now, and the banks don't have much of those. And so now the new law is not bailouts, but it's bail-ins. Silicon Valley Bank actually broke the law by doing a bailout instead of a bail-in, but that's where all the billionaires' money was for all the tech startups that they do and all the investors of people that basically control the Fed and other things like that. And so they got away with it. But this next time, if we have a big size regional bank go down, they can do a bail-in. And basically what you get is in return for your deposits, which aren't yours, you're lending the deposit to the bank to store it for you. Actually, they're not even storing it for you because it's their money. You just have an IOU to be able to pull that back out. They're going to give you stock certificates in a failing bank in return, and it's going to be horrible. And all you need to have is one big national, well, it won't be national if it's a regional, but a very large regional bank go down, do bail-ins, everybody's going to be freaked out. They're going to try to go take their cash out. The banks are going to shut down and do a bank holiday, most likely on a Friday. And a lot of times these things happen on a 3-day weekend, but they don't always have to. And you won't be able to get your money out. Credit cards will stop working. Your debit cards will stop working. That is when you want the cash. I can't tell you for sure it's going to happen, but that's the kind of crazy scenario that would happen if we have a bail-in panic. Okay. We've had a few banks kind of do a soft bail-in and no one cared about it. They were small regional banks. You just didn't really make the news. But anything over $250,000 is not FDIC insured, and you can kiss that goodbye. That's gone. Now, if you have a trust and it's set up the right way and you've talked to the bank and you've talked to your attorney, you might be okay having more than that. I think you can have $250,000 per beneficiary, but not giving you financial advice on that. Go talk to your people. And if you don't have people and you have that kind of money in there, go get people. You better have people. And if you have below $250,000, the other thing to be aware of is there's around, I think it's $120 billion in FDIC insurance that is out there. And that's to shore up about $11 trillion in deposits. So if we have a cascading effect of money running going on, it could be a long time before you get paid out, or if a lot of banks fail, there is no money to bail you out. there's no guarantee you're going to get paid out of the FDIC insurance. And so if all of a sudden, we're out $5 trillion and there's only 120 billion in there, who gets the 120 billion? And then what happens to the rest? They would actually have to go to Congress. Congress would have to go print a bunch of money. Maybe the Fed can do it. I don't know for sure. But they'd have to go and infuse the market with another $5 or $6 trillion and hand it out to everybody. And that's if it wasn't a cyber attack and they still have all the records. So it can get crazy. All right, $5 super chat from Tiger Stacker. Thank you. Don't let Surfer fool you. He makes money from selling hair to locks of love. It's not that long. Yeah, that doesn't happen, unfortunately. That could be another money-making opportunity. AK-47, building my silver stack back up. Traded a lot of it off this year to build my gold position. Yeah, it's fine, guys. Like, yeah, coming out of the crust right now, I think it's 7-to-1 is the ratio. So that makes sense. Jake Brown, being honest, I don't think sugar was near 50. I thought around 38 to 42. So they're kind of talking about that. But you guys all tell me what the price is right now. I don't know what the price is as of today for spot. Since I'm doing this, I can't look on my other screen. Dragon Horde Stacker, it's been a while. How are you? Let's see. So anything's possible, guys, with going up and down. You have to realize there's okay, here's what's happening right now. Okay, we're not in just a regular market like 2011 where there's a demand spike and desire for some of the precious metals. We're in like full mode of accumulation by nation states. Okay, so you've got the BRICS nations buying as much gold as they can through their central banks, period. Okay, you've got India going nuts, buying as much silver as it can. You've got China going crazy with their citizens buying as much silver as they can too. I mean, people are buying like 100-gram bars is what they're buying of silver, and they're buying a bunch of them. And I don't think of China as being a country where people have a ton of disposable income. So I think they're moving a good amount of their wealth into silver. Silver can fluctuate a lot more than gold, but it also has much more demand than gold. Gold is only really used for a few uses outside of monetary purposes. But it has very unique capability properties. And so, it's always been seen as a more valuable metal than silver, except for a few times in history. But it hasn't always been at 100 like it was, earlier this year. So when you look at all of this, you have to realize countries are accumulating this as fast as they can, and they're printing more and more fiat. Why are they doing that? So they can accumulate more and more gold. Why aren't they buying Bitcoin? Why aren't they buying other cryptocurrencies? They're not doing that. I mean, you only have like 3 countries that have done that. And the US isn't one of them. We haven't been buying Bitcoin. We stole it from other thieves, but we didn't buy it. So, why aren't they buying Bitcoin? Why aren't they buying other things? Why aren't they buying a bunch of stocks? Why are they buying gold? Why are they doing that? And why are we starting to see more countries say that silver is a strategic reserve? Okay, there's a reason for that stuff, guys. And it's because they're trying to accumulate as much of the metals as possible. So I don't like to think in terms of what's the price of gold and silver and should I buy it or should I sell it? If you're putting so much into the metals that if it goes down to 30, you're in trouble and you have to sell, you're doing this wrong. You need to hold more cash, okay? Or more other liquid assets, okay? You should only be selling your gold and silver when you have to in an emergency, not because, you're hoping to ride the silver wave to have it double on you and you're going to use that to pay property taxes. Like, don't do that. That's dangerous. If you want to take some money, put it into gold and hold on to it and say, hey, this is what I'm going to use to pay property taxes with in year 5, 6, and 7, and I think it's going to go up. You could do something like that, and you might be able to pay for property taxes for several years doing a strategy like that, but I wouldn't take it right now and put some money into gold hoping that gold's going to be significantly higher to pay your property taxes and not put as much into it as what your property taxes are going to be at the end of 2026 and expect it to get there. Things can go up and down, okay? So be careful how you guys are doing this. You know, if you put a lot of money into precious metals, and if your refrigerator, your car breaks, you have to sell your precious metals to go buy a new car or a new refrigerator, then you might want to look at some gold. Gold's going to hold its value better than silver, but you might need to be holding more cash on the sideline too. Okay, yes, it might go down in value over time, but it gives you the ability to buy dips. It gives you the ability to not have to sell your metals when they're lower than where you want them to go. You got to build a strategy. You got to kind of work through that. Be careful. I hate hearing that someone had to go sell a bunch of metals at a huge discount. And sometimes I find other people selling those, right? That's how I get some of my best deals, is someone just has to hurry and load them. And it comes to me from someone else, but it came from a person in the ecosystem in our community. And I hate hearing that they had to sell like at 5% below spot to get someone in the community to buy it. And they're desperate, shop around, all those kind of things. But I hate hearing that. But it happens sometimes. I've sold gold to pay for bills. And it's when I had a cash crunch and I didn't replenish my emergency fund as fast as I probably should have. And sometimes I'm selling it where I don't want to do it. I hate that feeling. It happens to all of us. Well, a lot of us. But build some buffers for you guys. Mr. and Mrs. West Texas Stacker, what's up? And so what I'll tell you guys from that standpoint is I would rather have metals than be stuck with fiat or stable coins when those really get pushed. If the countries and the central banks are buying the gold and the silver, I think they're taking it off the market. I don't think this is just a move in, hey, we need some more resources, so we want to buy it now. I think we're seeing a financial war between cryptocurrencies, between precious metals, and between fiat. And because of that, a lot of these places, especially the central banks, are buying the metals and they're taking them off the market. So I don't think they're going to dump it on the market again. I think they're taking them off. Gold is the money of kings. How many of you guys are kings? I'm not. So it's pretty cool that we have the ability to even buy it in the first place. Let's see. So for me, I'm not selling my metals right now to buy back in. I'm not selling my mining stocks to go buy back in. I'm buying on the way down on my mining stocks, and I'm buying on the way down if we go that direction on silver and gold, because I'm more concerned about getting from fiat into metals. That's my thing. Now, will we have a lower point where you can buy more? Everything says no. We're not going to be going below 30. I don't even think we're going to be going below 41. To see it hit 41 is really where I think that's pretty close to the 200-day moving average. Maybe it's 38, 41, somewhere in there. I've been too busy with my day job to really focus on that at the moment. But I don't see it really going below there unless we have a complete meltdown or an SHTF, okay? And remember, in an SHTF, things can all go down or they could go way higher because people want this stuff. So it's hard to know what's going to happen there. Personally, I would not be waiting to buy. I would be figuring out a dollar cost average strategy and decide what you want to buy, how often you want to buy it, set the money aside for it, and then continue to go down that strategy. And sometimes you're going to buy lower, sometimes you'll buy higher. And if the price dips pretty low, you can pick up more. And if the price jumps really high, maybe you buy a little less. That's what dollar cost averaging is. Not financial advice, just a strategy. Okay, let's see what else we got in here. All right, we're going to do this giveaway in a minute here. I'm going to try to come down on the comments pretty fast. I have no idea how far back I am. Yeah, exactly. Banda Hallball, I don't know how I'm even say that right, but Dodd-Frank major bank accounts theirs. Yeah, a lot of stuff changed around that time. Okay, so Neophyte talks about, this is one thing that's probably good to hit real quick too. So when you look at silver and gold prices today versus what they might be in 5 years, you have to remember that we don't know exactly what it's going to look like in 5 years. These bull runs can take 5 years, 3 years, 10 years, 8 years. Okay, they're in that range. And during that cycle, there's going to be a point where we get into euphoria where everybody's trying to chase it because they realize they missed the boat. that's when you get really high prices. And a lot of that happens in the last like 10 or 20%, excuse me, of the bull run. And so from those high prices, yes, the prices will come back down. But it also depends on what happens going forward. If we end up seeing countries starting to back their currency with gold, you could see a stabilized gold price because it gets pegged to it or it gets backed to it. And then you have a flat price. All of a sudden, the gold price doesn't change in your currency anymore. It's stuck. Okay, when that happens, I'll be moving into a lot more real estate than gold and silver, and I'll probably turn into a real estate channel. I know more about that than I do gold and silver. Silver, on the other hand, is going to depend on the industry, right? If we go into a big Great Depression thing, you're going to see the price of silver have a lot of pressure on it to go down because there's not going to be as much demand for it. And you might even all of a sudden see that there's more supply coming out of the ground than there is being used up. Prices can go down for that, okay? But you have to realize that prices here, we could see the bull run get up to here, and you can see prices come down to here. So it depends on what's going to happen. Are we going to see it go back down? Well, let me answer this for you guys. If we've printed so much money, and I think we're going to print a lot more, do you think silver is going to go down to, $30? If it goes up to $300 or $600, do you think it's going to go drop all the way back down to $30? And if it does, are we still using solar panels? Are we still using cars, EVs? Are we making military weapons anymore? I mean, I know people have bought silver for a long time and they felt the hit of buying it at those peaks. 1980 was not a real peak. That was manipulation. It should have never been that high, okay? And even 2011 wasn't very long-lived either. But right now, there's a lot more demand, a lot more use for it. And we've had massive inflation. So I have a hard time believing we're going to get below 30 and stay there. And so, 50, I still think we'll be above 50. My guess is once we get into the triple digit silver, I think we're going to be hard pressed to see it go too far below triple digit silver going forward. Now, you could have a retest. It could go below, right? And it can come back up. So I'm not saying it can't go below that. I'm just saying once we hit triple digit silver, I think that's where we're starting to kind of, see it go up above that. Okay, let's see. I'm going to try to get down here because you guys want this giveaway soon. Okay, frostbite coins. A lot of opportunities exist because of external circumstances. Great current example is government shutdown. People are struggling for no fault of their own. That's what this stuff is for. It's savings, right? So what I'm saying is part of the being prepared is having cash to take care of your emergency fund. So I like to have that be about 3 months worth of expenses if you can afford to do that. And then from there, you've got your metals. So I don't recommend using that up. Keep that out of the metals so that you don't have to sell your metals at a lower point. However, with that said, if you end up using all that up and you've got to use gold and silver to sell, that's what it's there for. Okay, we're going to go down a little faster. All right, I think we're about caught up here. Space Cowboy. Hard to imagine $300 down to 30. But the way things are going, anything's possible. Anything's possible. I mean, look, central banks own all this gold, okay? So supply and demand. If the central banks decided, we don't want gold anymore, we want to dump it, they could destroy the gold market, right? They could put so much gold on the market that gold goes down to probably, $20. They could probably do that. But in order for people to, allow the market to do that and for them to do that, they'd have to believe there's no value in it anymore. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense to do that. It's the same thing with, cryptocurrencies. I mean, Bitcoin's up at over 100,000. And that's because there's people that believe it's worth 100,000 or more, and so they keep their money in there. But the moment that they're afraid it's going to have its 4-year crash, you're going to see people start to dump it. And they're going to hurry and try to take their profits. And then they're going to be worried that it's going lower and lower and lower. So the more and more people dump it, it goes up and down, all that stuff. So that happens with metals too. But I don't see gold really taking a massive dive because we're going into what's called a financial reset. We're going into what's called a currency reset. And when those happen, every time in history for about the last 6,000 years, they have used gold to reset these things. And so for that purpose, I think they're going to hold the gold as they get to these resets, and then they peg it or they back it. And a lot of people will say, well, maybe there's not enough gold to do that. Well, then some countries are going to be in trouble, and people will be in trouble because they won't have any of it. Will they confiscate again? They have in the past. Why wouldn't they do it again? But I wouldn't get too freaked out about that right now. If we get into a bigger risk of that, that'll be something I bring up more on the channel. But, you know, it is what it is. You know, you didn't have to turn it in 1933. You know, you could have buried it in the ground. So all that stuff could happen. I think silver is going way above 100 in this bull run. I think we're going to see, you know, silver somewhere, in my opinion, between 300 and $1,000 bucks. 1,000's a pretty long shot. For us to get there, I think we're probably going into a lot of wars, and there's a lot of demand for it. We'd also have to have a pretty decent economy going for it to get that high. We'd also have to have gold go up significantly higher. So you're probably looking at revaluations to drag silver up that high. I think 100 is like easily going to get past, even 150. I'd be surprised if we don't go above 300 personally on silver. Now, I'm not buying the silver because of just that. I'm buying the silver too because I believe the gold to silver ratio is going to go down, and I'm wanting to turn some of that silver into gold. And so if I can buy my silver between 80 and 100 on the GSR, and then I can flip it into gold somewhere around 10 to 30, you can get more gold doing it that way, even with the premiums, if you can find the gold at the time. All right, let's do this. We're going to do the giveaway here. So, all right, guys, I'm going to give you a minute here if you guys haven't done this already. So the giveaway question is going to be based on a post I put out last night. And, you know, I'm going to be doing more and more of the giveaways based on other videos I've had out. Okay, guys. So before we end, if we get up to 200, I'll do a second one of these 1 ounce Beskar bars. We're going to be doing more and more of the giveaways based on that. I know there's a ton of freeloaders that come in here. They've got networks of people because I know about them, and they email each other and they say, hurry, go in there so you can get the free silver. And there's nothing more annoying than having someone win a piece of silver from your channel that you have no idea who they are because they've never been there before. Okay. I want to support the people that are supporting the channel. So we're going to be making these more and more about, you know, past videos. We're going to be even doing it about comments. Okay. So starting for this coming Friday, you guys will have had to watch some of my videos that will come out this week, and you will have to make comments about them. And I will have information in the video for you to tell you what to put into the comments. And I'm going to harvest those comments going forward to do at least one of the giveaways, if not the giveaway for the week. So you guys are being warned on that right now. All right. So you cannot go until actually, I can't even type start. So one of my mods will have to put start in there for me. So who do we have in here right now? We've got L in here. So L, I will have you put start in, and you guys will probably see me say it first, okay? And then you're going to see her start, and you need to wait for the start. And yes, it can move fast. It's the only way we can really do it on here, to do it this way. Starting Friday, we'll do the random picker from a previous video. If I can get it to work. If I can't get it to work, we'll do it in just the chat, but hopefully we can get it to work that way. All right, so here's the question. What does the B represent in my last post? And then as soon as L puts start down, then you guys can do that. We're going to pick number 3. The guess is that, okay? And you can't guess before. One guess only, guys, and you have to wait until it says start. Anything before that won't count. And you guys gotta wait. I don't see a start yet from L. So, all right, now I see the start. So we're gonna go off that. All right. So we're gonna do that. Now, guys, look, it's free silver. Don't kill each other over it. Some of these guys are really good at getting a lot of free silver off the channels, but you know, it's fun to do that. I don't know how much this one's worth right now. You guys will have to go back and tell me what it's worth. But yeah, I just got back from a trip in Brazil. So I was out there for work. I did not pick up Brazil silver. You know, these trips usually end up just being pretty crazy and fast. I didn't really even make it to a market to go do much of anything but eat and, you know, do my work that I needed to do there. Didn't really get to see the country too much. Next time I go down, I hope to maybe spend a week and a half down there, which would be fun. But it was a great country. Guaraná, I'm not even going to say it right, is like an awesome drink that I buy here and I've had for years, that comes out of Brazil and is made with a berry. And then they love their meat. So we had a ton of meat, which was great. All right. You guys can stop putting answers in there. We're gonna go back to number 3. All right. So I'm gonna pull it up here. Okay. And I will screenshot this thing too, so you guys can see what I'm seeing. Well, let me see if it'll let me do that, because it depends on how many of you guys do it after the start, from the time I can show start. Okay, I can't quite do it from that time. So the answer is Brazil. Okay, that's what the B is Brazil. So we've got L as a start, and the first person we have put in Brazil is Rick. And then we have another Brazil from Richie Crash. And then the third Brazil that we're looking for. All right, see, you guys all started just copying each other. All right, so the third one we have put in there is L. All right, guys. So that is who we've got. So L, congratulations on that one. And yes, Brazil is the B in BRICS. Bitcoin does start with B. I'm never going to pick Bitcoin as a silver giveaway, just so you guys know. But it is the B in the BRICS, and I'll tell you, it was interesting. I'm sitting there with my computer translating live, because the conference I set up was pretty much given in Portuguese. And it was really interesting to hear them talk about how much China is coming in and influencing Brazil, and really focused on trying to get Brazil to do more things with them, and to have much more of a stance around, you know, influence. So I didn't see any Teslas. I saw a lot of Chinese electric cars down there. You know, I did see some American cars that were out there, but there's a kind of a war going on between China and the United States on who's going to really court Brazil. And I think that's probably happening in a lot of places. And that's why I'm picking up gold and silver. One of the reasons I'm picking it up is I think we're at a point right now where these countries are buying as much of this as they can, because there's going to be a time where the chairs from musical chairs are pulled out from underneath, and there's just a couple chairs left, and only a few of these countries are going to find a place to sit. And I want to be someone that's in a good position for when that happens. I personally am more concerned about holding on to the wealth I already have versus making wealth or growing it. Many of you may be in a different position. You may be more concerned about growing your wealth, about finding your wealth, about creating it. And when you're looking at those things, there are different strategies out there that can grow it a lot faster. However, gold and silver this year has outperformed Bitcoin. It's outperformed the S&P 500. It's done really well. So it's been a good year for the metals. Let's see. We're also not going to kill anybody for spelling something wrong, typing fast, guys. But BRICS and Brazil is definitely two different words. Boston's another one. I go up to Boston a lot. Let's see. I'm going down real quick in what you guys just put in here. Okay, so we got to stop in here too. So that's always good to do. But we're probably gonna go back to the other format on Friday, just so I can start sharing some more things with you guys. But since I moved this a few times, I didn't want to take this off and kill everybody's bookmark. I know Rick had been looking a few times. So Rick, she can win it. That's why we do number 3. There's no way for her to know if she's 3rd or 4th or 5th on there. It's really hard for that. But, that's why we don't do the first one, or we don't do, we do a random one off of that, and we do it this way. And I know you guys are going to say it's all rigged. Well, everybody says everything's rigged if they don't win. That's how it works. Chinese chickens have a drumstick and your brain starts ticking. I don't know what that means. It sounds a little scary. Yeah, and Elle does help with a lot of channels, so it's good to have her get a bonus from that. Yeah, so if you want to, wherever you want to pick a year, things are going to be different, Atomic Rooster. So it all depends on the year you pick, the time frame you look at. If you just look at this year, gold and silver have done really well, and it's been good. Now, if you go all the way back to 2000, like you're suggesting there, gold has outperformed the S&P 500 the entire time. It's been way, way up. Gold has done way better. And that's what you're pointing out there. And, I look at it and, I had more wealth in my life in the past than I do today. And a lot of it got wiped out in 2008. And if I had just taken a chunk of my wealth and put it into gold in 2000 and just put it in a vault and let it sit there, I would have 10 times the amount of wealth I have today. And that's how this game is played, guys. I'm looking at that, and when I look at the charts like this, and I realize that gold was something I didn't have to work my butt off. I didn't have to go and try to create real estate projects and startup companies and tech companies and go work a job and all these other things. It's just something you hold on to, you put away, and it can go up significantly. Now, it doesn't produce yield. I know Warren Buffett doesn't like it, but that's because he's a business guy. He likes to build businesses and run them. But you guys, it's incredible how much gold and silver continue to just prove everybody else wrong that says that they're just a shiny rock. So that's kind of where I'll leave it out here. But so we will do some more some silver giveaways. Now I still have my gold giveaway I'm throwing out there, guys. It's a 10th ounce Spanish Toro, which is a reverse proof. So it's a lot nicer than a gold eagle. And that 10th ounce I will give away if we hit 17,000 subscribers by December 31st, midnight of this year, 2025. Okay, so if we hit that, we'll do that on New Year's as a giveaway. If we go above that and we hit 20,000, we'll do something awesome as well. But that's what we'll do. And let's see. Yeah, so we're going to move back over to the other format. The reason for this format is I wanted to try it because the amount of views that come into this format, YouTube goes way above and beyond that. Now, I'll try to talk to Frostbite Coins a little bit. There is a way to stream it both ways so that it hits both places, but it's going to take some other software. I've got to get it set up, so we'll try to figure it out. But this video gets viewed by a lot more people when it goes this format. It's because they put it into the Shorts feed. They want you to do this. They're promoting it. YouTube is. But it is an issue with doing the picker. It's an issue with showing you guys a bunch of screens. I can't show you charts. I can't point out articles and all of that. But what I will tell you guys is this. Do your research. Keep your eye out there for what's going on in the news because, we almost had a silver squeeze, okay, with the LBMA. They flew a bunch of silver from New York, from the COMEX over to the LBMA. The situation's still not looking great. I'm not saying I want it to happen, okay? That's like something that's going to blow the market up. It becomes like, I don't know if we'll be able to buy any more metals or afford to be able to buy them after something like that happens. So, and I'm not done buying. But what I am telling you guys is watch out for those things, pay attention to them. In my opinion, I like sovereign coins the most. So like silver eagles are my favorite. That's what I try to have the most amount of silver in. And then junk silver. And then outside of that, I have bars and I have rounds and other fun coins and stuff. So, it's fun to have some of these things, right? Some fun coins, but you're going to pay more for them. Now, unless you buy them right when they are released and you get a crazy good price, right? If you can buy this for 28 bucks when it first comes out, and then, 3 or 4 months later, it goes up to 40 or 50 bucks, those can be some great coins to flip. However, these aren't going to keep going up that same percentage, okay? With your Eagles, Maples, Britannias, Krugerrands, Kangaroos, I think that's most everything. You don't want to overpay for those. So you want to pay a decent, you want to find a premium that's not too much higher above like a round when you go to buy them. Or see if you can buy them on the secondary market, someone trying to sell them. I'd have a really hard time paying like a $10 premium for a Silver Eagle. That'd be really hard for me to do. Even a $6 premium is pretty hard to do. But I want to thank you guys for coming on. I will have some more videos coming out this week. Travel's a little bit crazy, so I may or may not be able to make Andy Scheckman videos. We've been trying to do those for a while. We just haven't been able to find the right time, but we'll try to get him back on. If you guys have other people you'd like me to interview, please send me an email. Don't leave it in the comments, because when you tell me to go get like Donald Trump to interview or whatever, I can't just go get Donald Trump to interview, okay? Or Joe Rogan or someone. Send me an email, stackingsurfer@gmail.com. Tell me who you'd like me to try to get on the channel for an interview. Send me a link to their channel. Send me a link to their email, right? Put their email in there. If you have any relationship with them where you can make an introduction, great. If there's a reason why you think they should be on the channel and you want to see an interview, let me know. I can send an email to these guys. I'm a small channel. Anything under 100,000 is a small channel, guys. Most of these places that come on to do interviews are looking for big channels to get them, promoted. They're not really there just because someone like me has questions that no one else has asked and I want to ask them. That gets a little harder. But I want to thank you guys for coming out. Have a great evening, and stay good, and pray for the world and the country, you guys. We've got crazy times ahead of us, and we need things to get better, but sometimes they have to get worse before they get better. So until next time, peace out, guys. Thank you.